Today, this one caught me off guard. Like, I'm just doing my usual reading, and I was like, how did I not really notice this? Because apparently this is closer than you think to actually happening. I don't think it's going to actually happen just because of who Apple is and what Apple is. But of course, I'm talking about this headline. Apple Watch is a step closer to being banned in the United States after President Biden upholds a ruling. I was like, did you say banned? Obviously, banned is going to get your attention. But I didn't even know it was so serious as far as their disagreement, accusations, legal proceedings around the Apple Watch specifically. Apple Watch has been a target of a infringement from a company specializing in ECGs and ECG-related readings and hardware and sensors and so forth. This company is called, what is the name of this company?
AliveCor.
AliveCor. I want to be alive, Will.
That's a good name.
I want to be alive core. It's like more than being actual alive. You know what I mean? I'll be alive core. It's like normcore. I think normcore. Have you heard about that style before? Normcore.
It's a style?
Yeah, normcore. It's a fashion trend. It's like Larry David. It's like normal. I think it's probably the closest thing to my...
Steve Jobs?
I think it's the closest thing to my style.
Happy birthday,
choice.
Steve Jobs, actually. It's his birthday today.
Well, I don't know that he could have been classified as normcore because this was before it even had a name. When he was just dressing with like jeans and New Balance and like
So what's happening right now, this trend?
It got a name at least.
So you're normcore?
In the 2020s. No, I'm just saying if you were going to label...
Seinfeld?
If you were going to label... Like, I don't have any labels. I don't wear labels either.
Okay.
That seems to be a theme of normcore also. I don't know if I'm Larry David enough, but like I will seek out clothing without any... Maybe except for possibly sneakers, but even sneakers, I'm not even really wearing that much. I think my stuff is like painfully normal.
Okay.
Core.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't hear of this theme or trend.
No.
I feel like we might have talked about it on this show before. But anyways, anything once it gets the core on it, it gets like ownership over the thing, including AliveCor. What are you looking for over there, Will?
I just wonder if you hear Otis chewing on his antler.
Absolutely.
It's loud? I can...
Do you feel that this is something he needs in his life right now?
No.
Well, I mean, he might. No. He might. He might need it in his life right now. Like, you don't know what he's going through.
But it's the crunching.
But you don't know what he's going through.
He's fine.
Hold on. He's losing his antler right now. He's losing his antler. You don't know. Do the people know about these antlers, by the way? Like, these are pricey antlers.
Yeah. They're real antlers.
It's a real antler. They shed the antler.
Hold on. Let me grab it here.
Some people go and will actually try to find these antlers. I saw a guy on YouTube who they go shedding, I think it's called, and he takes his dog, like a Malinois, and they look for sheds of entire antler racks.
Yeah.
And these things are valuable, dude. They just fall off. Isn't it crazy? They just fall off.
And they're defenseless for a little bit.
They just fall off. Is that wild? But then how do they get...
They grow more.
So big, though. Yeah, they grow back. They grow more. It's all very interesting, this thing. The antler. They just find them just laying there. And the point being is they are rare and difficult to cultivate, and they sometimes belong to these buck anyway. These bucks. Anyway, the dog can it's so hard, whatever it's made out of, the dog can chew on it for ages and ages.
Yeah. It's controversial.
Oh. Okay.
Nowadays it is.
Sorry, man.
Otis got some like chipped tooth because of it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
why you're saying controversial. I thought because it's from a deer or something.
No.
Controversial with the chipped tooth?
Yeah, he has some because of the antler.
The
So
antler
I give
is
it sparingly.
harder than the tooth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bone on bone.
I didn't think about that. I guess that's a possibility, depending on the dog, the size of the bite, the strength of the tooth.
Sure.
You better be checking his diet, his vitamins and minerals he's chipping his teeth over here.
Yeah.
You better be checking the diet over here, Will. You change the page on me now?
No, this is the right page.
You
Alive core, right?
You go back to this page now because
we're back.
you understand though, that a big point of this show sometimes is to go off the beaten path.
Yeah.
Inspect the fringes every so often.
I'm in.
Okay, good. But Otis apparently isn't because he lost his antler. He's out.
Yeah.
AliveCor is a medical device company, and they have some patents, including the first ever LEO against Apple to clear a presidential review. LEO, if you scroll up, we can tell people what that means. A limited exclusion order. They've been granted a limited exclusion order as of today on Apple Watches infringing on AliveCor's medical device company patents. It's the first ever Leo against Apple to clear the presidential review. I didn't even know these things go all the way to the president. Is that how that works? Oh. Good Lord. They're like, show the president, see what the president's like, you know what? They got a point here. The ITC also ruled on a cease and desist order, which, if enforced, would prevent Apple from importing any Apple Watch into the United States for sale. They haven't enforced it, but they approved. This is wild stuff. And the ITC's ruling in December said that the Apple Watch infringes on AliveCor's patent regarding the electrocardiogram technology. I don't know what Apple was thinking in this case. I'm not sure. They think they could President Biden their way out of it. Responding to the confirmation of the presidential review clearance, Priya Abani, CEO of AliveCor, said, "We applaud President Biden for upholding the ITC's ruling and holding Apple accountable for infringing the patents that underpin our industry-leading ECG technology. The decision goes beyond AliveCor and sends a clear message to innovators that in the U.S., the U.S. will protect patents to build and scale new technologies that benefit consumers." Why does it seem like it can't or won't happen? Why does it seem like Apple's going to sign a check or shake a Biden? Like, what's going to happen here?
How big is this company?
About to get bigger. About to get bigger with all this. About to get bigger. I guess they even sell a product. Look at that. Cardia Mobile Personal EKG, only $89. Peace of mind in your pocket.
Wow.
So Apple implements whatever tech they were selling at a much smaller scale, probably, investing a few bucks.
Oh, that's it.
There you can see theirs. I don't know. I don't understand it. I've got devices with the ECG functionality that aren't Apple Watches. Did they infringe? Did they implement it in a slightly different way from a technological perspective? I suppose so. Is Apple the biggest target? I suppose so. Is the Apple Watch the most tremendously successful ECG wearable? Probably.
Yeah.
So AliveCor is going to need a check. They're going to need a deal, or they're going to need something, or Apple's going to need something in order to get this sorted out. But at this point, it's been upheld, and it looks to be moving along. Now, for Apple's part, they go out and put the statement, "We firmly disagree with the ITC's decision. We are pleased that the exclusion order has been put on pause, consistent with past precedent. The patents on which AliveCor's case rests have been found invalid, and for that reason, we should ultimately prevail in this matter." Does that sound very Apple-like? They're like,
yeah,
we
got it.
Those little guys over there. AliveCor. Some guys over there.
Spit everywhere.
Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Apple. You know, you sound very convincing."
That's a good point.
You sound very convincing, Tim.
So much wheezing.
Apple, can you breathe? Apple, there's money falling out of your pockets everywhere. Well, listen, I mean, shout out to these guys. If this is the way patents work. I don't know. So I'm on both sides. Like sometimes I'm like, examining these patents, particularly when it comes to software, and you're like, well, that is just too obvious. Of course, everybody should implement this feature, and you've now patented some sort of software element. And then in some cases, you look at it and you're like, no, actually, they put together something that hadn't been done before, and they deserve that patent, and Apple should, it depends. It's a case-by-case basis. At least in this case, it looks like it keeps going up the chain of command all the way to the presidential status, and at this point, it's being upheld as some sort of infringement. At the moment, I don't know. At the moment, it's on pause ever so slightly. It hasn't been... can you picture Biden just stopping the import of Apple Watch?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
You can't imagine it, can you?
But if you will... That would be terrible.
If you will, imagine it?
Yeah.
If you will.
If they ban the Apple Watch?
It kind of reminds me of the Bill C-11 stuff here in Canada. A couple of people asked me about it. It's like, the consequences are pretty intense. Like, if Google or YouTube, and it all depends where the leverage lives and who you believe and who you don't and whose threats are real and which are inflated. And Canada's sitting there saying... Oh, no, we can tweak this one. Yeah, we can Google, we can out-Google Google. We'll tell Google exactly what content should show up and what percentages, and they can tweak the algorithm, and no problem. And Google goes, we can't tweak the algorithm. Google goes, no, this undermines what we're doing in general. We don't have that degree of control. Things are free-floating, free-wheeling to a certain extent. We moderate retroactively, but we can't go in there and... We can't just pour a bunch of maple syrup on the homepage.
Yeah.
And if so, we might not be able to do business over here. And then you sit there and you say, well, the politicians, people vote for them, and they're clapping quietly in the background like, yes, Canadian content. Oh, yes. Oh, they sip their little wine at their parties. Sounds great. You guys are so right. You know what? You guys are so right. We're losing our Canadian identity on the internet. What are these TikToks? What are they? But then you have the general public who's just snoozing, and I'm talking a big beast. I'm talking a whale of a public, and they're just in the background. And then they just wake up one day, and Google says, no real YouTube right now. We're getting some things sorted out. There's not going to be YouTube for a bit. And then all of a sudden, what? What? And that's an elephant size situation.
Yeah.
And then the people that were in the corner that were kind of sipping on their are like, oh, it seemed like a good eye. And they're not clapping so much anymore because they realize, oh God, we tinkered with something that we're really not the tinkerers of. We're really not the right people. It's like the Supreme Court the other day when they were like,
they admitted it.
You keep asking us these internet questions. I don't know if we're the internet people.
Turns out. You don't know anything about
people clinking the glasses behind the scenes like, heritage. I love heritage. I love heritage. More heritage.
Yeah.
Who's really holding the hammer, Will? You gotta be honest. Who's really holding the hammer? Is it the guy who says he's holding the hammer? Sometimes it ain't. Sometimes there's somebody behind the guy holding the hammer, and guess what they're holding? They're holding the gun.
Yeah.
Holding the gun, pointing at the guy holding the hammer. They're like, you best swing that hammer when I tell you to swing that hammer, sir.
Who is that guy?
You never know who that guy is. You talking about the guy holding the gun?
Yeah.
Well, in this case, it's Google. Allegedly. Obviously, I'm talking in symbols and metaphors and things. They're not actually, but I'm talking about leverage. I'm talking about power. I'm talking about influence. I'm talking about what really matters. I'm talking about where the wheel hits the road. I'm talking about the way the world works, Will. You can clap in the corner at your cocktail hour, but that ain't where the rubber hits the road, is it?
No.
fancy footwear,
Yeah.
fancy outfits.
Definitely not normcore.
Oh, thank you for wonderful property you have here. It's beautiful. Thank you for